Your Majesty, the glyphs on this artifact and the seal on this parchment
By
confirm their
sunrise,
betrayal.
news had spread throughout the palace. The king had summoned an emergency session of the royal court. Every noble, royal official, village chief, and palace servant was ordered to gather in the great hall. No one knew exactly what had happened during the night, but everyone sensed that something important was about to be revealed. The magnificent hall soon filled with anxious whispers. At one end sat the king upon his throne. Beside him stood Crown Prince Chinedu. A few steps away stood Ada, calm but nervous. On the opposite side of the hall were Lord Nnamdi and Lady Amara. Though they tried to appear confident, fear was written all over their faces. When the hall became silent, the king rose to his feet. Today, he declared, we shall discover the truth. He turned toward Chinedu. My son, you asked for 3 days. You have returned before the 3rd day. Present what you have found. Chinedu stepped forward. I will, father. He first called the young palace guard who had seen Lord Nnamdi leaving the corridor leading to Eda's chamber on the night of the feast. The guard bowed respectfully and repeated everything he had witnessed. Lord Nnamdi quickly interrupted. That proves nothing. I often walk through many parts of the palace. Chinedu nodded. You're right. By itself, it proves nothing. He then invited Zainab to stand before the court. The young maid trembled as she walked to the center of the hall. The king spoke gently. Do not be afraid. Speak only the truth. Taking a deep breath, Zainab told the court about the secret meeting she had overheard days earlier. She repeated every word she had heard Lord Nnamdi and Lady Amara say about stopping the wedding and ruining Ada's reputation. The hall erupted into murmurs. Lady Amara quickly pointed at Zainab. She's lying. She's only saying this because she likes Lady Ada. Before anyone else could speak, Chinedu raised his hand. That is why I did not rely on her testimony alone. He turned toward the captain of the royal guards. Bring in the witnesses. The great doors opened. 2 royal guards entered and bowed before the king. They described how they had secretly followed Lord Nnamdi to the old storage building the previous night. Then they repeated every word they had heard. How he admitted to planting the necklace. How he revealed the duplicate keys. How he planned to silence Zainab forever. The hall became completely silent. No one could believe what they were hearing. Finally, the captain placed a small velvet pouch before the king. We recovered this from Lord Nnamdi. The king opened it slowly. Inside were the duplicate keys to the display case that had held the royal crown jewel. The final piece of the puzzle. The evidence was overwhelming. The king looked directly at Lord Nnamdi. Do you deny these accusations? For the first time in many years, the powerful advisor had no answer. His shoulders slumped. His pride disappeared. With a heavy sigh, he lowered his head. No, I confess. Gasps filled the great hall. Lord Nnamdi closed his eyes. I believed the throne deserved someone of noble blood. I thought a poor village girl would disgrace this kingdom. So I created the theft. I planted the necklace beneath her bed. I convinced myself I was protecting the kingdom. The king's face hardened with disappointment. You were never protecting this kingdom. You were protecting your pride. He turned toward Lady Amara. And you? Tears rolled down her cheeks. I was wrong, Your Majesty. I wanted my daughter to become queen. My jealousy blinded me. The king remained silent for a long moment. Then he stood. Hear my judgment. The entire hall rose to its feet. Lord Nnamdi abused the trust of the crown. He used lies to destroy an innocent woman. He shall be stripped of his title, his wealth, and his position. He shall spend the rest of his life in exile, never again to serve this kingdom. The guards stepped forward and took Lord Nnamdi away. He did not resist. The king then faced Lady Amara. You allowed jealousy to become wickedness. You are removed from the royal court. Return to your estate and live the remainder of your life in peace, but never again use your influence to harm another." Lady Amara bowed her head in shame as she was escorted from the hall. When the doors closed behind them, the king walked down from his throne. He stopped before Ada. The entire court watched. Then, to everyone's surprise, the king bowed his head slightly before her. "My daughter, on behalf of this palace, I ask for your forgiveness." Tears filled Ada's eyes. She quickly shook her head. "Please, Your Majesty, you have done nothing wrong." The king smiled warmly. "You have endured false accusations twice in your life, yet you chose forgiveness over revenge. That is the heart of a true queen." The hall erupted in applause. The nobles who had doubted Ada now bowed respectfully. One by one, they greeted her with honor. At last, her name had been cleared. At last, justice had spoken. And before the celebration ended, the king made one final announcement. "In 7 days, my son, Crown Prince Chinedu, shall marry Lady Ada before the entire kingdom." Thunderous cheers echoed through the palace. The wedding everyone had tried to stop would now become the greatest celebration the kingdom had ever witnessed. Subscribe for the next part.